Yo, Kaspa family. All right, we're gonna be looking at price action, some interesting topics like U.S. debt and stuff like that. So here we go, Kaspa. It's retesting its daily moving average. Now this is something I was saying a few days ago in my past video. It was very possible to see Kaspa retest the 10 cent to 10.5 cent range, and here we go. Hovering around 10.8 cents. We'll see how it is. It's like it very well may have to drop down. Even it has this low, its low Bollinger on the daily. It'll provide support. Even here, likely we'll see support at the 10 cent. You even look at the weekly chart, and it's not just for Kaspa, but it's all the major cryptos. It's a very healthy to see this pullback. So don't be worried about it. It has very strong support on the macro time frame. It says it's consolidating. We saw it was breaking out at this level, and now at this level it's consolidating. Very healthy. So don't be worried about it. So another interesting thing, like looking at Ethereum long term, the macro trend, it's going up. So we already know Kaspa is going to be a rival to Ethereum, and it can absolutely surpass it with based rollups. Kaspa is the solution for Ethereum, and Ethereum is still doing superb with its price, its support, and long term. But you just have to keep it in perspective. It's just going to take time. Like it could very well stay at this price for, look at this, until October 2025, it could very well still be at the same price and still be on trend, So that's just something to keep in mind. Gold as well looks like it's consolidating. Bitcoin consolidating. Bitcoin with respect to gold is looking even better. And that this is very good. And we even see an article from JP Morgan forecasting Bitcoin to outperform gold in the second half of 2025. It doesn't surprise me at all. For various reasons, liquidity in gold, it can be stabilizing. Even the charts are painting a similar picture with how Bitcoin is. It's not, it's fairly priced right now, but it's definitely needs time to see that shift upward in its macro channel with respect to gold. We like to see it. Now, what's up with U.S. debt? Like, this is actually kind of crazy, like really crazy. And again, I've been saying time and time again, this is the downfall of the dollar. Okay, fiat currencies, this is their end. Okay, the 2008 banking crisis, it's about to happen again. Now, what does this mean for the crypto markets? What does it mean for the financial markets? Well, it's not good for the financial markets, that's for sure. It's not good for real estate. It's not good for banking sectors, but it is good for crypto, for assets that are a safe haven. Bitcoin, Kaspa, these are safe havens against inflation and economic turmoil. That's why Bitcoin was created in response to the 2008 crisis, and now we're seeing a crisis happening across the world globally, in China, in the U.S. The Moody just downgraded U.S. Moody is one of the major U.S. credit rating agencies. Okay, so they just downgraded U.S. debt to AA1 from AAA. This is not good. Not good at all. Okay, what does this mean? Well, this is the last of three major credit agencies to downgrade the U.S. debt. This signals reduced confidence in U.S. credit worthiness. As a result of rising deficits, increasing debt to GDP ratios, debt ceiling just increasing and not having a solution for it. So it's not looking good for the U.S. dollar. China is also having its own set of problems. Its banking sector is also doing terribly, even worse than ours. But this is something that we may see another very large bank collapse and default, loans defaulting. And this is something that can very much turn a turmoil across markets, but it is a very prime scenario for crypto. So although it's kind of freaky and scary, this is what crypto was made for. So, these bank runs are not going to affect Kaspa. Yeah, certainly could have an initial dip and everything like that, but long term, and as that dip gets eaten up, like people are going to be flooding to crypto because that's the only thing you could really trust. It's a trustless, decentralized ecosystem. You're not relying on a centralized bank. Orangutan elder, orangutan. No, I did orangutan elder. So this is actually a crazy, really beautiful post, right? He wrote about Kaspa is just like the ultimate trust layer, the verifier of data, a verifier of value for monetary transactions, the verifier of communication, decentralized communication, the verifier of content. This is like all types of data, hash proofs, zero knowledge proofs. This is stuff that will interact with the internet. It could even be the the verification layer, the sequencer for Bitcoin. So, this is where we go into, how Kaspa, looking at Ethereum, how Kaspa is the solution for Ethereum with EVM compatibility. So, Eager Labs and even Kasplex L2, they released information on their L2. I personally am more looking forward to Kasplex L2. They won't be having their token. They're a non-profit, so they don't need that, the company funding. They don't need venture capitals to invest in them. They don't need partners, company partners. They're not running like a company. They're a non-profit. They're building for Kaspa, and they likely have their bags packed in Kaspa. So they're looking for what's the best for Kaspa, rather than having it more aligned with the incentives of a token or incentives of a company. They don't really care about that. So that's something it's more in line with Kaspa. And it seems like I was talking to one of the developers, and he seems like they're going to be using a wrapped version of Kaspa to incentivize node operators, and that's wonderful. So that's exactly what I was really hoping to see for EVM compatibility layer 2. So Kasplex definitely looking good, but doesn't mean Eager Labs is going to be bad at all. I mean, no, it's just this competitive environment is perfect for growth and development, and for especially Eager Labs is they're really putting themselves out there. They went to ETH, I don't know, some sort of Ethereum conference, I forget where, but they went to a very large one, and they were really putting themselves out there, getting contacts, partners, and they're really trying to bring builders from Ethereum to Kaspa through this EVM compatibility. So Kaspa is a solution for Ethereum with based rollups. So you see all these other L2s on Ethereum, and they're suffering, and they have their own problems, and they're having such walled gardens with this liquidity stuck on these various L2s. Very hard, if not impossible, to actually transfer from one L2 to another. And they want to keep it that way. They want to really keep that liquidity within their L2, and that's exactly the problem. And they're really sucking Ethereum dry in terms of making the majority of the fees and not giving back to Ethereum. But Kaspa, on the other hand, with based rollups, especially with zero knowledge proofs, it's going to be a fluid layer 2 ecosystem where every single L2 can interact and use smart contract logic simultaneously in parallel with other L2s. So even KRC20s are not going to have any issue. They're going to be able to use these decentralized applications, because KRC20 at the end of the day is an L2. KRC20 is a layer 2. And they're going to be able to interact seamlessly across these existing, Kasplex L2, Eager Labs, their own L2. Now, this seamless integration, this seamless interaction will be requiring zero knowledge proofs. Now, zero knowledge proofs is not it's not going to be there at launch, most likely. And even Eager Labs was saying their concerns with it seems like, I don't know, Eager Labs seems like the zero knowledge proofs that I was watching an interview, and they were saying that it may even introduce some security concerns with the whole Eager Labs token and how they run it. Looks like it's a timeline that could be up to 5 years. We'll have to just see. It's just such early in Kaspa's smart contract development that we're going to have to see which solutions end up becoming the best, which ones work better, which ones are more reliable, and which ones work best for Kaspa as well. Which ones are least parasitic. Even though if it's a based rollup, it's not going to be having its own sequencing. They're going to rely on Kaspa for that, but we also want to have Kaspa as a settlement layer. We don't want to have to rely on Ethereum or other EVM compatible layers to conduct that settlement. And that's something that, I was making a point about here. Settlement on Ethereum is not the end game. And you could see it even in the picture here. Literally, they draw it out very, pretty clearly. You have the Ethereum client, MetaMask, for example, the wallet. User sends a transaction to RPC. RPC picks it up, it sequences it on the Kaspa block tag, sent it to the Egra node, EVM compatible. It reads the state as well. It picks up the transaction, and now this EVM compatible node, basically, it periodically sends it as settlement to the EVM compatible base layer, which in this case would be Ethereum. It could be other ones other EVM compatible ones like Polygon, Phantom or Sonic, I think, but things like that. You know, it's great and all. It's wonderful in terms of initial adoption, okay? But long term, we want to really bring things back to Kaspa, and that's something beautiful that seems like Kasplex is trying to do. And even Shai was like talking about it. This is a long time ago. This is 2024, 2024, November 13, talking about. I quote him here: "Existing chains do not have to migrate to Kaspa. They have several, and no, in term for their these based rollups. There are several possible hybrid designs, such as using the same verification that they use today. Speaking of these other chains, but using a component sequencing over Kaspa for the sake of atomic transactions. So this is the beautiful thing where Kaspa can be a solution for all of crypto to use. Atomic transactions is huge. That's being able to use different smart contract logic at the same time across different layers. It's a beautiful fluid environment, very efficient. It's honestly perfection for crypto smart contracts. So it doesn't just fix Bitcoin at making it 6,000 times faster with better security. Fundamentally, Kaspa has better security than Bitcoin. Now that's hashing power aside. So if we had Kaspa with the same hashing power as Bitcoin, Kaspa would technically be more secure than Bitcoin, especially if you wait the same amount of confirmation time. You don't need to wait the same amount of confirmation time. Okay, but if you wanted to wait longer confirmation time, you're going to have higher security than Bitcoin itself. People like to see Kaspa as, the fluid money. It's the silver. It absolutely is, but you can't discredit the fact that it is the perfect store of value as well. Just put a little bit longer confirmation times, and there you go. More secure than Bitcoin. Assuming the hashing power is there, and the hashing power comes at time. You see, hashing power on Kaspa is actually following a power law to accuracy of, I forget what it was, either 96 or 98% accuracy to a power law. So, dang, man. Now here's the hashing rate all time. What a throwback. I remember back in the day, this is like when it was at the 1 petahertz, and dang, that's just crazy, how it's grown. But this is following a power law trend. Okay, it's wild, and the accuracy of this power law trend for the hash rate is it's much more accurate than the price, and we could see the various reasons why, and we could go into that, but I go into that like another time. But do I still think Kaspa's following a power law trend? Absolutely. Now we look at Kasplex too. I mentioned Kasplex, their layer 2. So here they go. This is their ZK EVM, zero knowledge proof EVM. Beautiful. Zero knowledge. Yes. Please bring that zero knowledge into Kaspa. That really brings decentralization. It puts it doesn't rely on an entity, on a single Kasplex or whatever. Zero knowledge doesn't rely on anything. It's beautiful for decentralization. Okay. EVM gets that initial adoption from existing builders, existing DApps. So this is it seems like it's going to be very good. And I'm really looking forward to what Kasplex has to offer, especially how it will help empower Kaspa. And of course, it can be used as a solution for Ethereum and other EVM compatible layer 1s. Now, this is also very interesting. Kasplex has here under development a new virtual machine. Now, this virtual machine is how you're going to be able to bring that development on Kaspa. Keep it in-house. Now, instead of having to rely on EVM DApps or EVM builders, builders and applications and tools on Ethereum, look at this. Now we're going to be able to build straight on Kaspa, a virtual machine optimized for scripting, automation, Internet of Things, and gaming on Kaspa. That's right, gaming for all the gamers out there. Let's go. We're gonna have some epic gaming because, think of gaming on Kaspa. Microtransactions happening, every 0.1 second, every 100 milliseconds. Gosh, some gamers don't even have 100 millisecond response time on a game. Now you're gonna have Kaspa. Imagine the games on Kaspa with that, where you're gonna have these microtransactions on games, being able to purchase your weapon, your loadout, things like that, trade with people in game. Shout out to RuneScape. That's how I got this. How I got this first half of my name, Scape, from RuneScape. Imagine like that. Put Kaspa in there as the in-game currency. But yeah, definitely some interesting topics. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of bigger picture where things are headed. Because it's looking really good. You look at Kaspa on the monthly chart, and it's under its macro moving average. So of course it's going to be getting back up to here. You see here, it tested it around the 13 range. Something I was actually looking forward to for a while now. I wanted to see it at the 12, 13 cent. I was saying that, I don't know how long ago, a few months, a month or a few weeks ago. So it did it, and now it's at this support level. It's going to be here for some time, and we're going to see that explosive growth, especially going into 2026. It could very well hit up to all-time high by 2026. We'll see when it actually explodes too, because when it hits here, once it hits a all-time high, it's going to break it. So it's not going to stay there very long. And looking at how Ethereum and Bitcoin, how their chart played out in a very similar chart setup when they were at this market cap 12 years ago for Bitcoin, or 8 years ago for Ethereum. What did they do? They were here for about 1 to 2 months. They tested the all-time high for about a month or two, and then they broke out. And that was the ridiculous bull run that would send Kaspa to over $1. Okay, that'll send Kaspa to $1, to $3, to $3 plus. Now that's the crazy run that it's going to be powered by. What's it going to be powered by? It's going to be powered by smart contracts, builders from Ethereum coming over and noticing Kaspa, builders from Solana coming over, seeing what's up with Kaspa, tier 1 exchanges not only listing Kaspa, but marketing Kaspa. Imagine the wallet number 2, the one that's been loading up millions of dollars of Kaspa for the entire past year, and they're still loading up millions of dollars of Kaspa. What are they going to be doing? They're going to be saying, hey, yo, guys, Kaspa kind of solves the trilemma and fixes crypto once and for all. They're going to be marketing it. They're going to be marketing it as the trilemma solution. Who do I think it is? I think it's Binance. And I think they've been giving teasers, especially on CMC, CoinMarketCap. You see like some really interesting like little tidbits of facts. Like, the head of CoinMarketCap and scroll down a little bit, you'll see a too long didn't read section. View all, and you'll see even it talks about MEXC faces scrutiny over suspicious Kaspa trading activity, potential market manipulation concerns. Some really interesting. It talks about the upgrade of 10 BPS, significantly improving speed. So they've been releasing some of this stuff, and they might have added some retroactively as well, but very interesting. And still, Kaspa is not on Trust Wallet. I made a video a while back. I was making shorts before I was making videos, but it was one of my first videos, and I was like, Kaspa is not on Trust Wallet. How in the world is even Binance going to be, running things if it's Kaspa's not on Trust Wallet? Like, Trust Wallet is literally if MetaMask and Trust Wallet are the two largest crypto wallets, and Kaspa is not on either of them. Like, bruh, I get it. We're trying to be, Kaspa Maxi, keep it Kaspa. Go on Caspian, go on Casware, go on KSPR BA or whatever. But at the end of the day, people like normies need a way to access Kaspa, and right now it loses confidence in the fact that it's not even on their go-to wallet, having to install something else it's just barriers. And we remove these barriers, and we're going to be able to see a little bit greater adoption, in my opinion. And that's going to also help, in my opinion, these exchanges to be more, perhaps willing to and ready to list it. Imagine, it just takes that little bit of integration. We need a developer. I was actually talking and seeing in the chats about what is his name? Code. That one Code of develop. This one of these great developers on Kaspa. Running with nodes and helping stuff with Crescendo. So he even mentioned in the Kaspa Discord that he has now some extra time after Crescendo, now that Crescendo is released, to work on perhaps a Trust Wallet integration for Kaspa. So that would be wonderful, wonderful. He was even talking about native swaps within Ledger itself. So being able to swap Kaspa inside Ledger for other coins. He was even talking about that he could be, that's on his backlog to work on for Kaspa. So some really great things. And it's weird that it shows Trust Wallet as one of the wallets supported for Kaspa, and it's not supported. So that should be fixed, as in Kaspa should finally get on Trust Wallet. And it's just those little things. Those little things add up, and once they all are in place, I think we're going to very much see that listings, because these tier one exchanges do not want to compete with the decentralized exchanges, because we see once decentralized exchanges get their foot in on a sector, for example, with Solana and its meme coins, these decentralized exchanges take vast overwhelming dominance of the trading volume, and exchanges are at the loss of that. DeFi takes the hold of meme coins, and that's great, and especially on Solana. It's great to see, and we love DeFi. Less centralized entities is less risk. You know, these centralized exchanges, they get hacked, they go down, they have a CEO or they have a scam artist that runs it, and their funds are wiped, their funds are gone. Like on what happened with XT, they still trying to give funds back to users from the KRC20 environment, where there was like the whole list event, and then they suddenly like lost a wallet. So we're gonna have to see. Even like Zegex, dang, they took a big chunk of my money, of my Kaspa, even some of my Nacho. It's really hecking annoying. I don't know why. I just have to, don't be thinking that you're smart, that you're you know arbitraging across exchanges and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, you're gonna get burnt by an exchange that just one day decides to be like, yo, I'm out, peace, and it just takes your money. Because that's what exchanges can do. You got these shady exchanges that they don't require KYC or anything like that. They're shady, they're small, and they can do ridiculous things if at one time they're a little bit overexposed. And look at FTX. It was literally one of the large exchanges in the world, and they were running a whole scam operation, over leveraging their users' assets, just like a bank, if not worse than a bank, even riskier than a bank. But this is why banks are failing, and why we're going to very likely see a potential rerun of the 2008 collapse of the financial markets, with Bitcoin and crypto and Kaspa, of course, taking the lead, because of these over leveraged, greedy individuals, centralized entities that just they're they're malpractice basically at the end of the day. Yeah, so there's that. I'll definitely make some more videos on some other topics, but definitely covered a good chunk of stuff there. So on that note, peace.